What is going on, guys? In today's video, I will show you the best weapon tier list in New World Aeternum. This game has a bunch of different weapons to play and choose from, but the big question is, what are the best weapons and their combinations? So I've done a bunch of testing and here are the results. So first off, we have Sword and Shield, and we will place it right in the B tier. This weapon is typically meant for tanks. The sword is unique in that he can be used in combination with a shield. Since the sword can use a shield, you're able to more effectively block incoming damage than any other weapon. Offensively, the sword offers quick and powerful melee strikes, complemented by the solid tanking capabilities offered by the shield. Some disadvantages of using a sword and shield is the lack of reach and long cooldowns. The top 3 combos are Sword and Shield with Greatsword, Sword and Shield with Hatchet, and Sword and Shield with Warhammer. Next we have Rapier, which gets to be placed in the S tier. This weapon focuses on being quick, agile, and elusive. His evade skill allows players to move around their enemies with ease, and the riposte skill allows you to counterattack almost anything in the game. The Rapier rewards skillful play, and it specializes in applying powerful bleed effects that can deal moderate and sustained amount of damage. Or perhaps you can focus on evasion by specializing in the counterattack-oriented skills that can turn any enemy's strengths against them. The top 3 combos are Rapier with Bow, Rapier with Fire Staff, and Rapier with Life Staff. Next up we have Hatchet, which is in the B tier. This is a versatile one-handed weapon that is primarily used to deal damage in close combat. Where the Rapier is evasive and agile, the Hatchet is aggressive and relentless. The Berserker tree focuses on damage, survivability, and speed. Also, the Berserk ability is extremely powerful and provides several buffs when completely supported with masteries. Its ultimate mastery, called Defy Death, allows you to cheat death for 3 seconds. And its top 3 combos are Hatchet with Sword and Shield, Hatchet with Greatsword, and Hatchet with Bow. Next we have Flail and Shield, and he's also in the B tier. This is an incredibly potent support weapon that, similar to Sword, can be paired with a shield. The Flail and Shield combination allows for 4 bonus perks that will either amplify one's offensive output or provide defensive options for survival. While it may not be the best overall damage output, it has crowd control potential with almost every single one of its abilities. Also, this weapon can be used by tanks or by healers who are looking to provide damage and maintain healing without swapping to their life staff. For the top 3 combos, we have Flail with Sword and Shield, Flail with Greatsword, or Flail with Life Staff. Then for the 5th weapon, we have Spear, which I will place in the B tier. This weapon focuses primarily on stunning and knocking down its enemies. With several ways to reduce its cooldowns, such as aggressive maneuvers, you are also able to spam your abilities more frequently than your other typical weapons. A very good spear player is a crowd-controlling machine that always has cooldowns and is ready to do some damage. It can also be used to perform large, sweeping strikes for crowd control. On top of having the longest reach among all melee weapons, the spear can also be thrown, making it an extremely versatile weapon that excels in both close combat and ranged combat. For top 3 weapons, we have Spear with Bow, Spear with Rapier, and Spear with Great Axe. Next we have Great Axe, and we will place it right in the A tier. While most other weapons can hit multiple targets with well-placed light or heavy attacks, the Great Axe easily hits multiple enemies with its big side-to-side swings. The Great Axe can generate powerful vacuum effects that can pull in targets and can also allow players to chase down their enemies with powerful charging attacks. This is a very powerful weapon that trades speed for brute force. For top 3 combos, we have Great Axe with Warhammer, Great Axe with Sword and Shield, and Great Axe with Hatchet. Next up, we have the Warhammer, and he deserves to be in the C tier. This is a massive 2-handed weapon that boasts the highest raw damage in the game. Featuring large sweeping AoE attacks, the Warhammer excels at multi-target encounters and crowd control. Additionally, the Warhammer's attacks can break through an enemy's block, making them ideal for heavy and defensive opponents. On the opposite end, however, the Warhammer is also the slowest weapon to use and requires both hands to equip. For top 3 combos, we have Warhammer with Great Axe, Warhammer with Sword and Shield, and Warhammer with Greatsword. Next we have Greatsword, and of course he's in the S tier. This is the only 2-handed weapon that acts as an exception to the rule, as it can swing heavy attacks incredibly fast. The greatsword shines with its single target burst damage and its ability to close gaps with movement speed and crowd control abilities. It is a unique weapon as it functions in a stance system, so when your abilities are activated within its onslaught tree, you will gain Path of Onslaught, which will increase your damage and speed up heavy attack swings. However, this will come at a cost of increasing the incoming damage. For top 3 combos, we have Greatsword with Bow, Greatsword with Hatchet, and Greatsword with Warhammer. Next up we have the Bow, and he is in the A tier. This is a weapon that excels in ranged combat by possessing quick reload speed and fast repositioning. The Bow is considerably more agile than the musket, by trading off damage for improved mobility and speed. Also, this weapon will fire arrows which are affected by projectile drop, so you'll have to aim above where you intend the arrow to go if shooting from a distance. Overall, the Bow is a great ranged weapon that has several AoE abilities but does slightly less single target damage. For top 3 combos, we have Bow with Greatsword, Bow with Spear, and Bow with Musket. But to be honest, there are many more combos that work as well, like Hatchet, Spear, and much more. Then for the next C-tier weapon, we have the Musket. This weapon is primarily focused on delivering single target damage from a distance. The musket shots are all hit scan, so you do not need to account for gravity when aiming. By using bullets, it allows you to ignore most of the damage fall off from range when using standard musket shots, which allows musket to be a threat to nearly anything you can see. The sharpshooter tree focuses on increasing headshot damage, and its ultimate mastery sniper allows you to zoom in to make accurate shots from a distance. Overall, this is a long-ranged weapon that has superior firepower in exchange for a longer reload time. For top 3 combos, we have Musket with Bow, Musket with Rapier, and Musket with Spear. Next we have Blunderbuss, and unfortunately he is in the D tier. This is a mid-range weapon that deals close to mid-range damage and offers high mobility. This is the only weapon that scales on strength and intelligence, making it perfect for mage and bruiser builds. Although not from extremely far away, the Blunderbuss is a ranged weapon that delivers significant amounts of single target and AoE burst damage. It shoots a spread of 6 bullets, each one adding individual damage. For my top 3 combos, I recommend to use Blunderbuss with Sword and Shield, Blunderbuss with Warhammer, or Blunderbuss with something like Ice Gauntlet. So then for the next one we have Firestaff, and we will place it right in the A tier. This is a magical weapon that excels in crowd control with its large AoE spells as well as its sustained damage burn effects. Its Fire Mage tree focuses on long-range AoE abilities such as Fireball and also regenerating mana through heavy attacks. Its ultimate mastery, Runes of Helios, will drop a rune on the ground that increases your spell damage while you stand within its range. For my top 3 combos, we have Firestaff with Ice Gauntlet, Firestaff with Rapier, and Firestaff with Void Gauntlet. Next we have Lifestaff, which deserves to be placed in the S tier. This is the main healing weapon in this game as it's extremely powerful at keeping your teammates alive. Its attacks and abilities deal nature damage and scale with focus. The healing tree focuses on healing allies who are below 50% health. The first row mastery, Absolved, is great for any Lifestaff user as it allows you to use basic attacks without consuming mana. If you want to be any type of healer, then this is the weapon for you. And for top 3 combos, we have Lifestaff with Void Gauntlet, Lifestaff with Rapier, or Lifestaff with Sword and Shield. But to be honest, almost any weapon will work with the Lifestaff. Next we have Ice Gauntlet, and he is in the C tier. This is another magical weapon that gets superior crowd control by utilizing ice spells with powerful slowing and freezing effects. The Ice Gauntlet can also create ice elemental constructs that can aid in dealing damage or protecting the player from harm. This weapon excels at dealing decent damage at mid-range and keeping its enemies just out of arm's reach, with AoE crowd control spells like Ice Storm or Ice Shower. Overall, this magic staff shines as one of the best PvP magic weapons in a support role, as well as in builds that are focused on pure burst damage. Its damage output combined with its CC make it the go-to option for many players. And for the top 3 combos, we have Ice Gauntlet with Firestaff, Ice Gauntlet with Lifestaff, and Ice Gauntlet with Rapier. And finally, we have Void Gauntlet, which deserves to be in the B tier. This is a magical weapon that scales with intelligence and focus and deals void damage. This weapon specializes in being one of New World's top-tier secondary weapon options thanks to the massive amount of utility it brings to both PvP and PvE. While it does not necessarily shine as a primary damage option, it still contributes to a significant amount of total damage through its raw damage potential, damage over time effects, and disease effects. For my top 3 combos, we have Void Gauntlet with Life Staff, Void Gauntlet with Great Axe, and Void Gauntlet with Ice Gauntlet. And that's about it. So if you enjoyed this video, click like, subscribe, and comment. If you're interested in more content, check out my channel, and I'll see you in the next one. So take it easy, peace.